Okay, so let's work on those hand controls. I'm going to grab the left hand controller, and we're first going to add the attribute. So I'm going to go modify, add attribute, and this is on the left side of the hand, but I'm going to keep the words pretty simple, just so we can do them both at the same time if we so choose to. So this is going to be index, and we're doing finger, so I'm going to start with, I'm going to call it finger. So we're going to do index, finger, and we're going to do them all on index, middle, ring, and pinky. Okay, and I'm going to do the minimum as -5 and the maximum as 10. Because I want to push these values quite far. Okay, so there's the index. The next one is going to be middle. I'm going to paste finger in there. -5 and +10. We have ring. -5 +10. Add that. We got the pinky. -5 +10. And then finally we have the thumb. Oops. We could just say thumb. -5 and +10. Now we also have these other features. This is keyable, this is displayable, and this is hidden. And when we add the displayable icon, that just means it's going to show up here, but it'll have no actual functions. So if we went to displayable, for example, and I said enumeration, and I just got rid of the word here, I can take this one called green, and I can say underneath I can call this spread, right? And when I add it, I'll call this spread. Actually, if I make it empty, then I hit add, what that does is nothing. It has a little value in here that we can simply lock off. You know, so we can lock. Oops, sorry. We can lock selected. And that means I can't move it either. So this is a good way to just have something here that shows that we're going to have other attributes underneath it with similar names. So it's a really good way to do that. Okay, so now that we have spread, let's add some spread values. I'm going to go back to float. And I'm going to call this one index_spread. And I'm going to copy this value. And I'm going to have a similar minimum maximum here. So let's go -5 and +5 for each of them. So I'm going to add. Then we're going to have a middle spread. -5, +5. And you know what I'm just thinking is that, no, yeah, -5 and +5 should be fine. We got the ring spread, pinky, and then finally thumb. Let's just make sure they work okay. Yep. Alright, looks great. Now the last one I want to put on here is some shapes. So I'm going to just say pose. We're going to make this enumeration, and I'm going to leave it empty. Oops. Undo that. So I'm going to add pose in there. And again, I'm going to right click and lock selected so we can't change that value. So under pose, I'm just going to have a few in here. So I'll have a cup. We'll put that -5, +10. we'll have a whole hand spread. -5, +10. And then we'll have relax. -5, +10. And then we'll have one called fist. So if we want to do a fist, we can just create that as well. Alright, so I'm going to do the same to the other side. Feel free to skip the video if you already got this. If you wanted to hang out and do this part with me, feel free. But I'm just going to be replicating this. And normally, a fast way to do this is to just duplicate this group like we did. Remember how it's a group over here? It's a hand group, right? You can duplicate it. You can create a new group out of it, invert the scaling, and then freeze out that scaling, and then you'll have to reattach everything over here, but it'll keep all these values so you don't have to redo it again. I'm going to redo it the hard way just because it's good practice, but that's a quick way of doing it if you're so inclined. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to grab the right side. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start with the spread values. So I'm going to start with the finger values. So this is just the curling of the fingers, right? So index, I'm going to go with -5 and 10. We're going to do middle, -5 and 10. We got ring, -5 and 10. Pinky, -5 and 10. And finally, we got the thumb. Next, I wanted to put an enumeration value in here, so this is going to be just a list of the spread, essentially. So get rid of that. We'll add that, and don't forget to right-click and lock it so you're not allowed, or you're not able to move it any. It's just here showing that there's spread underneath it. Okay, so with that, we're going to start with the index spread. So with the spread values, we did -5 to +5. So index, middle, -5, +5. Got the ring, and you'll notice I pasted in there, then I hit tab, and that's how I'm able to do it a little quicker. And we got the pinky, paste, -5 and 5, and then finally we have the thumb spread. -5 and 5, and that's in there now. And the last one we want to do was pose. So I'm going to create a pose, enumeration, and I'm going to get rid of that one, and add it. Now I can right click and lock selected so we can't change that. Okay, and let's get the poses in here. So back to float, and I'm going to go through these again. Okay, cup, -5 and 10. Hand spread, -5 and 10. Relax, -5 and 10. And then finally we had that fist, fist, -5 and 10. If you had a fish controller, then you wouldn't need a sword. Alright, looks great. So there we go. We have all these values. They work great. They should be the same as the other ones. Yep, they're pretty much identical. So I'm going to save it there, and the next part we're actually going to do is linking the translational data from the bones to those slider bars. So when we move the slider bars, our hands will do stuff. They'll either rotate or we'll make a cup and a fist and all that other stuff too. So I'll see you guys in the next video.